our view on him is perhaps slightly tainted by the fact that he played a good portion of his games at left fullback or left centre half, which was never his game whatsoever. He also played through the pain barrier. He was never fully fit. He had an injury that he wasn't given the opportunity to get over because Tranmere was so short of players that he needed to be there. And I just liked his character. And there aren't many characters within the Tranmere dressing room that I do like. Certainly not ones that have been available this season. Enough. McGee, O'Connor, Jennings, they are good characters. I don't know if Tranmere had enough of them. And I think McGowan was the right kind of mentality. And letting him walk out the building when that building has so few characters who are fit and available with certainty for the start of next season, because Jennings won't be. We've got no idea if McGee will be. And, a hamstring injury like what O'Connor picked up can take some coming back from. That dressing room could be very bereft of leaders. We've already bemoaned it enough this season, Peter. I'd have had the conversation over a year extension. He's only 29, turns 30 in July. So, there's still a lot of life left in his career.
I think so. And I think he'll go. I think Northampton are looking at him already. I think he won't go down any levels, I think. So I'd have kept him. And that thing about leaders, I mean, this has been spiralling downwards for a few years, hasn't it? We've just been losing one after the other. Murphy's gone now as well. So that kind of voice in the dressing room or on the pitch, there's not many left now. And that's something I hope we address with whatever recruitment we do and start bringing in people. Quite like the connection with the club or the local idea, because that gives a bit more impetus, I think, for the player and for the fans to buy into it. But we're sadly lacking in that, and it's really starting to show now when backs to the wall kind of thing. And we say why you're so desperate to get O'Connor back on the pitch.
Yeah, I thought part of our problem last year was the fact that Andy Crosby signed Richie Smallwood, and he basically wasn't wanted by Bradford for obvious reasons. They just got promoted, and they obviously had aspirations, and they've done pretty well in League One very well without him in this season as well. And Smallwood came in, and he was installed as club captain, and everybody was very positive about him signing because he helped Bradford go up. He was always looked quite good when he played against us. He talked the talk as well. So and with him and Nathan Smith coming in, you felt we got a bit of a backbone. And initially he looked quite good, and then his performances declined as well. And he almost admitted before he went to Bristol Rovers that his form had been really bad for whatever reason. Josh Davison had just talking there about falling out of love with football. It's almost like what has happened when players have been arriving at Tranmere for these to just all of a sudden their form to go off a cliff. How can Richie Smallwood be the best player on the park for 50% of Bristol Rovers games under Steve Evans when he was basically dropped by Crosby after the fans just saw a succession of really poor performances in the middle of the park as well? Did we just not play the right system? Was he not motivated? Had he still seen his arse because Bradford hadn't offered him a new deal? All of those could have been applicable. So it just, McGowan used to front up, didn't he, last season at the end of a lot of those difficult games. He'd be the one. Forget Finlay and for all of his bravado about, we've got to stand up and be counted as well. When you're getting yourself sent off at Newport, you've got absolutely no ground at all to be talking about who should be standing up and getting counted when you have a little tantrum like a toddler. But McGowan was actually stood up and was prepared to be counted and went over to the fans the closest when we'd lose the game as well, and very much cared. And that's all you really want. You just want players to care. They don't even have to have a local connection to the club. But if I was good enough to be a professional footballer and I went and signed for Hartlepool or Southend, I'd find out about that club and I'd make sure I knew about the history. And I'd say to the fans, I'm going to give my all for them. And I know all about Ricky Otto at Southend, or I know all about hanging a monkey at Black Hartlepool, or whatever it might be as well. And I'll give my all for this club because it's a privilege to be a professional footballer, and I'll do all I can for the money I get paid for it as well. And you just need to bring in that right level of character. And unfortunately for Crosby, he must have tried to bring in the right profile of player, but most of the signings, Whittaker was one of the few successful signings, wasn't he, really? And obviously his bright spell of games in the early part of the season was probably part of the reason why we ended up staying up. But the player recruitment just wasn't good enough in the end, and it needs to be better, and we need to get get more youth in as well, because otherwise it's starting to look a little bit like an aging squad, and some of whom continue to be injured, and that's another thing. The injury prone nature of our squad over the past couple of seasons has really been a very telling factor in how poorly we've performed on the pitch.